started. I'll call to order the Budget Committee meeting for Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. Everybody is here, so we have a quorum. And the first order of business is the minutes from the February 24th meeting. Do I have a motion for those minutes?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And so I think what we have on the agenda for tonight is the list of animal control, fire department, public safety, transfer station, and roads. And I will hand the meeting over to Shannon.
All right, so starting off this evening, we'll begin with the fire department, section 104. But first off, regarding any previous meeting notes, were there any other things that you wanted me to follow up on? I don't have anything in my notes at this time for the general administration or any of that. I don't have any significant changes. Okay. All right, so starting with the fire department, this is a flat budget. There haven't been any changes or any increases or decreases. Are there any questions with that?
Page are we on? I was under animal control that long.
Yeah, so
Animal.
in Department 104. Departments.
It's in your packet, right? Wasn't that in the packet you just handed out?
Yep.
Just
I handed
handed
out,
out.
yep,
Yeah,
Page
you'll
one.
see a date that says the.
Yeah, I know, it's on the front.
they're all page one because our printer likes to print off 30 pages of the same thing after everybody leaves, of course, so.
Oh, I see.
Fire department, there we go.
There's animal control, there's fire department.
Got it.
Yeah, so you can see that the budget for the current year is 77,451, and that's exactly what's in here for it.
Now, they last year had some things that they put in, they needed, wasn't it?
That was in
Eric,
2025.
The oxygen and stuff, okay, so we've removed that,
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that was
that-
an extra
okay,
10,000.
good.
So do the stipends not get paid out uniformly?
So they do. We've paid half of those so far.
Okay.
As far as the firefighter stipends, I believe it just depends on how many we have. We did gain another 4 firefighters this year, and it depends on when they came on.
Okay.
And so, I mean, we did have one start in November, and I think he got a paycheck for $8 the next month.
Is that dependent upon how many meetings they attend or what trainings they have?
Yes,
Like
it's
a
a-
point system?
It's a point system, and so it depends. But the fire chief hands that over to me, and then we put that into the system based off of what he. Yes.
So the bottom line is they were staffed below what they budgeted the beginning of this year, but they're
Caught up.
expecting to be caught up for next year.
Yes.
Boy, it's nice to hear 4 new ones, that's been a long
Yeah.
time.
Yes. Yeah. So you'll hear that again coming up in your next meeting when we start talking about capital transfers.
Okay.
But as of right now, they don't have any changes for this budget. What they're going to be looking at will be a fire truck purchase, and so we'll talk more about that, and the fire chief will be at the next meeting.
Okay,
And for their operating budget here, if they have any leftover funds, is that goes directly to the
capital,
reserve?
They have an
Capital.
equipment fund.
Okay.
And so I think.
it's a capital reserve account. though.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I think I sent that out initially in the beginning, and we can go over that in the next meeting as well, but yes,
It's like the
anything.
one we did for the roads, but it takes effect this year, so we haven't seen any activity from that yet.
Right. Yeah. So, any questions on the fire department, any other ones?
Nope.
Okay, so moving on to section 106, or Department 106 is for animal control. Just looking at some of the historical data and use as far as the wages, that is based off of hours committed. And we haven't moved into the spring yet, where we start to see a little bit more animals getting out of their pens and being outside. That may increase on the year to date, but I just kept it and decreased it right around 3,000 for the animal control wages. For the stipend, that remained the same. That's paid out monthly,
We just didn't think we were using those wages, so we could.
a little bit,
we're
yeah.
okay to- Okay,
Yeah.
And is there a minimum amount of hours if the person is called out?
No, they they've been very honest as far as what they use. If they get a phone call, they don't count that. If they actually go out on site, then they'll sit there and submit a report, a monthly report to me on all of the activity that they've done and about how many hours that is. It can vary anywhere from, I mean, 1 month we've had 0 actual on-site visits to some months it might be like 8 to 10 or 12 hours, 3 hours one day, maybe 2 hours another, depending on how long they go out there. Our animal control officer has gone out and done with I think Kennebec Valley Humane Society and had a couple of sheep shaved. They've had a couple of dogs vaccinated and things like that. So yeah, just being taken care of. Travel expenses also came down just a little bit, and then you see the Kennebec Valley Humane Society. And so that's usually the higher number in there, but just keeping that across the board, it seems to kind of vary on how many dogs get taken in or what kind of services they come and provide.
Mhm.
Any questions on animal control?
Nope.
Okay. So moving on to section 108, public safety. This is a department you'll probably see the most fluctuation in, mostly for all the contractual obligations we have. For the E911 coordinator and dam keeper stipend, those are remaining the same. There was also a request from the Pocasset Lake Association that will be coming through as far as maintaining the dam. And so that will be up for consideration.
Is
But
there a
under,
chance that they would do it if they took it over gratis, so we didn't have a dam keeper stipend?
I believe
It
so.
would help in that respect.
Yep, so
Okay.
we'll talk about that
Good.
when we get to that point. For right now, contractual under ambulance. So this is including the uncollectibles for the ambulance. This is so when an ambulance goes out to a location and they don't actually require transport to a hospital and they just treat on site, they don't get recovered for any of those hourly wages, for any of that transportation, for any of those medical supplies. That's not something that they can get back or reimbursed through insurance for. And so this formula was updated last year, and last year they incorporated only 75% of that cost. And this year they're incorporating a full 100% of the cost.
So that's our percentage.
Yes, it is.
And we're on the hook for that, whether they use it or not. I mean, that's our,
Yes, they do it on a 50-50 percentage of per capita, and then 50% usage.
Okay.
So I believe Wayne's only at about a 5 or 10% usage.
usage, but
Yeah.
we kept that.
Very small. Now the ambulance, I had mentioned earlier, if you were here, that I did have a meeting with them today and also last week, and I'll be meeting with them again next week. And that's representatives from all of the communities, whether it's a select board member or a town manager or fire chief or ambulance EMS, the EMS from Winthrop, have been meeting to go over the fact that they are also going to be incorporating a capital improvements budget line. So we will see this go up as well.
So that'll be in here or will be in addition to this?
It will be in addition to this. It's kind of similar to the interlocal agreement we have with Reedfield for the transfer station. They also include a capital improvements for the transfer station. The town of Winthrop is looking to do that for their ambulance station as well. And I think some of the communities are starting to take a step towards understanding what regionalization might look like for emergency medical or emergency services. As you'll see also down below, we have our sheriff's department. That's only 4,000, and that's just for when we call up and the Kennebec County. Yep, so it's a minimum of 4 hours. I think it's at $85 an hour. And so that's usually for special events such as the Strawberry Festival or the Holiday Stroll or Memorial Day, if we have any kind of special events.
I think.
So the minimum is if there's a need for them, then they're gonna bill for 4 hours
Yes.
or more.
Yes,
Okay.
so they have to come, if they're gonna come out, it has to be for a minimum of 4 hours.
4 hour blocks.
Yep,
Okay.
and then we can make it 5 hours or 6 hours. It just depends. And so I believe their rate, I can check in a minute, but it's $85 an hour for
Okay,
4
And-
hours.
I don't mean to get into personalities, but when there are issues between one neighbor and another,
Mhm.
and the sheriff ends up being called, will that still trigger the 4 hour?
No,
That falls under the next budget line.
Oh,
So we
okay.
have a rural patrol dispatch, and that's for Kennebec County Sheriff's Services. And so that's a contract that they have. The increase of 55% this year is because they are looking at going to a different PSAP. So it's the different answering point for them. Before they had the state had set up a PSAP answering point for their dispatch.
What's that term mean?
Radio where they control from like a.
Yep,
Oh,
911.
Oh,
Control
okay.
center.
If you call 911, it will, like, we currently also have a PSAP dispatching line. That goes to Androscoggin County. Androscoggin County then transfers that 911 call to Winthrop Dispatch.
Oh,
And then Winthrop Dispatch for EMS and for fire sends out calls to
okay,
the Winthrop Ambulance or the Wayne Fire Department or any surrounding areas for mutual aid.
okay.
But since the sheriff is on a separate contract,
Oh.
they are now looking at moving over with Augusta. And so they are looking at increasing those costs because Augusta is looking at increasing their abilities with hiring new dispatchers. And again, that was another discussion that we're looking into with the town of Winthrop as far as establishing a PSAP center. And we're going to look at a cost feasibility analysis first and see what that would look like with the requirement of a new building with new staff. But if all of our communities need faster services or we need better services in one way or another, that may be more reliable. So that might be long-term, not anything immediate, but something to consider as we start looking at these increasing budget lines.
Yeah.
So like I said, rural patrol dispatch increasing by 55%. The Winthrop Fire EMS dispatch, they went back and recalculated something. I had originally sent this out with 13,000. I just updated this today. It's 10,813, so it's a negative 1%.
And that's just the fire and ambulance. So-
Correct.
So that
That's-
goes through Winthrop.
That's
Right.
the Winthrop dispatch,
Gotcha.
when the 911 call
Mhm.
comes. And then the PSAP dispatching, that's through Androscoggin County, and they've gone up about 10%. Streetlights, we still have that under here. We're looking at moving that under land and buildings and utilities. Trying to move all of our utilities potentially under one area.
What a concept.
Did we go to LED street lighting at all?
I believe we did, and I believe that somehow I'm able to control all of those through an app, which I have not accessed.
They blink.
I think there was a certain time period that we would be recapturing all the money once we paid it all out. It would be saving significantly every year.
Any questions on public safety? Okay, so moving on to section 109, this is roads. So the parking lot plowing contract is up for renewal. I just budgeted an extra 18% in there, just given the costs with uncertainty of costs and increases and plowing contracts. So that is a tentative right now, but it's just got a buffer in there. Road plowing, so this is actually a 5% increase from what we had budgeted from our actual, but it's only a 0.64% based off of last year's budget. For the mowing,
And that's in the contract, I think. This will be the last year of the contract, I think.
correct,
Okay,
yeah. And so that's something I still have to revisit with the contractor
for another
and
year.
just, yep, ensure. For mowing, this is something that hadn't really previously been in the budget, but just from looking at previous contracts when it was drawn up, this is for a median. And I think it's the one that was for the sign with the welcome to Wayne right down at the end of Old Winthrop Road and 133. But that was just something that was in the mowing contract we could revisit at some point. Roadside mowing also is up for renewal, so that's something that will be going out this spring. Just incorporated a little bit of an increase based off of historical increases.
Mhm.
Village snow removal, kept that the same. Electricity, you'll see that across all of the utilities, electricity has gone up significantly. So just budgeting 1,200, so it shows a 60%, but if you look at the actuals from 2025 and where our year-to-date is, we're already over budget
Yeah.
for electricity. That's solely for the sand and salt shed, but that will get moved probably also under land and utilities. For roads administration, so the 500, I kept that in there as an administrative fee this year, so I just applied for an internship for an intern for the summer. And so I'm looking to put them to work as far as scanning documents and working with our infrastructure committee to highlight all the information and organize all the information that we have that is currently in paper form and making it digital. And then developing a 5-year plan and going back and seeing what roads were opened, what were closed, what were should have been closed for winter maintenance, what should have been discontinued, or what were accepted. And so I would leave the roads administration in there. That will cover the admin cost with the Margaret Chase Policy Center, in case we decide to do that again. For the brush and tree removal, just decrease that about 16%. The calcium chloride also decreased that based off of historical data by 13%. Sweeping, kept that the same. That we haven't used yet this year, but we'll plan on doing that probably the end of April or beginning of May in preparation for Memorial Day. And then the same thing with painting down below at 4,500, looking at painting the sidewalks this spring as well. Patching, kept that in there, but increased it a little bit based off of the historical data. Because then when I send out or request a contractor to go out and do townwide patching, it ends up being a bit more. Just, we usually do that about twice a year or as needed. Signs, kept that historically at 2,000. I know in some years previous that they had done a lot of purchasing, and at this time I currently need to go through and do an asset inventory of all the signs that we have, but I left that budget in there so that way once we have that asset inventory we can go in and replenish as needed. Culverts, in 2025 I believe we had purchased all the culverts, but then that also accounted for unplugging of culverts. We had one that had frozen up and needed some significant work to unclog it, right down by Coolidge Road. But there are usually a few culverts that need some unclogging in the spring. So I would keep that at 5,000. For gravel, we just decreased that, but that's usually used to supplement the road grading. And then any other road work that we may need to have done.
That's a huge variance when I see budget at 40,000, but they only spent 943.
Yes.
Mhm.
So last year, we didn't really put any in there, but I would expect as we start developing that 5-year plan and start prepping for the roads that we're looking at doing, that we may be using this a little bit more. So last year versus this year is a little hard to gauge, just being in the first year essentially here. Winter salt, we increased that for about, I estimated about 2 more truckloads for salt, because of just this year, we had a lot of requests for ice with some of the changing temperatures and the higher spiking temperatures with the lower dropping temperatures. It tends to create more ice on the road, so just increasing for that. And winter sand, we kept that about the same, only a slight increase for that based off of what we had contractually for winter sand. And crack sealing, I think we may start applying that this year. Grading, increase that slightly as well. And ditching, maintain that as we start working on our 5-year plan for road maintenance. So overall, we're looking at a, for roads maintenance, contractually a 1.17% increase. Utilities, you could see a 60% increase. Just for the road maintenance, it's a negative 4% increase. And overall, it's a negative 1.71% decrease. Any questions on roads? All right, so moving on to section 110, the transfer station. They just had a very slight increase this year. And I think that was just due to some of the personnel that they had, some changes in the personnel. And so that is only a 1.4% increase contractually, with a 1.35% increase for that.
Do you know when they're gonna do hazardous waste? Have we already talked about that yet?
I don't think that that's come up in conversation yet. Last year, I believe it was July 13th. And so I think they'll be keeping kind of around that same time frame. That's something I think they work with Kennebec Valley Council of Governments on.
Yes.
And so, once we get some updated information, I'll put out some messaging on that. Are there any other questions?
Who are the representatives from the select board to the transfer station?
That's Mary Ann Butak.
Oh, okay. And then do we have any residents that participated?
I believe Kelly Hess also participates in that.
Oh.
So Shannon, the grand total line, the last page, is that just totaling this set of accounts, or is that? What is that totaling?
I believe that would be for all of the accounts. When I printed this off, I only did it by page. Like I said earlier, it was printing off like 30 pages at a time, so I wanted to do it one at a time. But I believe that this is just the expenses for our departments, through 110.
Okay,
I'm not saying grand total.
well, it's the total line on the very last page that includes the transfer station.
Right here. It's like one, so when you look at transfer station. There are no that-
Mine did.
It's on a handout. The copy is tonight, how's it?
Oh, did I put it in the wrong order? Animal control. Fire department.
If you
So
pass.
where 110 is, transfer station.
There.
Animal control,
That's the animal control.
public safety,
Mm,
Might have some older pages in there.
roads.
yeah,
No, I circled them.
right there,
No, because this is went from 3-3. Is that the same one?
free.
Oh, okay. Right.
Oh, so I see what you mean. This one says 3.
Yeah, I was going off my 310s. That's my,
Okay, yes.
Oh, the only one that was different with transfer station being 3-3 is nothing has changed since I
Nothing changed.
presented.
No, yeah,
So I ended up just
Mhm.
photocopying that
I'm
just
there
to
now.
make sure.
I'm with you, I'm with you.
And I figured when we
Computer
get
issues.
most of the different departments, the different areas done, you know, then we can put it into that spreadsheet and look at the. Yeah, but it didn't make sense to
Do
put it in
it.
there.
Yeah.
Until we got all the numbers.
Okay.
What else do folks have for questions?
All pretty straightforward.
So also at the next meeting then, and on Tuesday, the select board will be going over outside agencies. That is, we'll be moving a lot of those over from the recreation into outside agencies. And you'll see a greater increase of
Right.
number for outside agencies, and you'll get to see what that really looks like. And then for recreation, primarily looks at the Lad Rec Center, the Memorial Day Committee, the Conservation Commission, and then the Wayne Athletic League programs. The land and buildings, that will be encompassing all of the different buildings as well as the utilities. And I think we'll be moving, the other statement, another question I had about roads too, from the select board was to add dams into the roads and change it from roads to infrastructure. And so now that would be looking at incorporating any changes for the North Wayne Dam, the Wayne Dam, roads, and then anything else that.
Why wouldn't we keep roads separate? It's such a major maintenance item and we've got it structured that way. We've got it so that if there's anything left in that one, it rolls to the capital for roads.
Mhm.
You start throwing dams and other things in. I mean, we voted to do that.
Mhm.
Now it looks like we're changing the midstream, kind of changing the field.
I'll bring it up to the
But
select.
yeah, I mean, dams are dams, right? Infrastructure, roads are part of it, but
Yeah,
they're a major part of that subset.
When did it get moved out of the,
Roads have always been by itself.
they've always been.
Roads have always been roads. It's for as long as I've been here the longest of anybody, it's always been roads. And it's important to keep it as roads, in my opinion, because that's our maintenance of roads. And we can monitor it. That's why we voted as a town to move whatever was left to stay into roads. It would go over to a capital account. If we start putting dams and everything in it, that gets very foggy,
Okay.
just my opinion.
And then, for land and buildings, I think we'll also be including any kind of parks maintenance. So mowing will all fall under, that as well.
Where were you gonna put utilities? You're gonna run them in
Yeah.
there too?
Land and buildings,
Okay.
because utilities more so kind of apply to the buildings.
Mhm.
For capital reserve transfers, I believe that I had initially included something like this in your, packet.
Mhm.
So I'm just kind of walking through it real quick. Some of the things that you'll be hearing from us for, will be, so the fire truck. We currently have a balance of $476,795. By July 23rd, that will increase, by another $7,358 that we're just gaining in interest right now.
Which one?
So on this one, it's right up at the top with the fire truck.
Okay.
So the fire chief will be coming in, to talk about the fire truck purchase. And the request for a purchase anyway, and I believe he's gonna be presenting something about $150,000 request to make that purchase.
In addition to the 75 that we already are carrying, or
No, that it would be in
be
lieu of,
a new 75 on top of it?
correct.
Okay.
And then road reconstruction is something that, the infrastructure committee has been working through. And we'll have a presentation for that. The dam, the North Wayne Dam, there's been a request for $20,000 to be put towards the stair replacement up there. For the land and buildings up at the municipal building or the fire department with the town office. The heat pump is about 30 years old and has died on us. So on the hottest of days, it gets very warm in there. So looking at trying to get a heat pump updated in there. And then the east wall. So if you're looking at the building, it's on the far right. With the overhang that is right there, it is secured with cables. And so it has created a bulge in the wall. So if you open and close the doors, it tends to pull the whole wall. So that is under, that'll be a discussion. And then, for fire equipment, we'll be looking at, that's what you were asking about, any leftover account money from the fire department. It goes into the fire equipment.
Into the fire equipment.
And so far, just in this fiscal year, they've spent $37,189 out of that account. And so that is also in addition in their last accounts payable, they had another $8,500. And that was towards, some of their gear, some valves, pagers that they purchased. And then,
So they've spent about 45 of the 47. Oh, no, the 47 is still left. They're gonna take another 8 out of the 47.
yeah, so, correct. Yep, and then the fire pond and dry hydrant, they're requesting to also move into the fire equipment.
Oh, okay. I know it's an odd question, but if they're buying a new fire truck,
Mhm.
is the new fire truck going to fit in the current?
North Wayne it will, Wayne it
It
will
will?
not. Yep, It
Okay.
will fit in North Wayne. It will
Correct.
not fit in Wayne.
Okay.
The antique one will go back in Wayne. The horses.
Okay.
And then, for outside,
But in North Wayne, that's where the wall is falling down.
Mhm.
Or bulging.
and one additional, statement just regarding the, Androscoggin Lake. So there's typically an allocation for $10,000 for the 30-mile river watershed. They've also put in an additional request for, 15,000 on top of that. So their overall request is for 25,000 in order to, pursue any research or engineering study and what they can do to find solutions for the, algal blooms in Androscoggin Lake. So that will be up for consideration.
Maybe grant money and other things that could offset some of that, correct?
I think there's currently a group, a committee, aside from the town, that is working, and that includes stakeholders from the Androscoggin Lake Improvement Corporation, the 30-mile river, and concerned residents from the towns of Leeds and Wayne, that are putting together a grant request.
Good.
And grant funding and a full budget. I think their budget is looking at around 100,000
Yeah.
for right now.
And at the first thing you said to us about that was some, you had some numbers.
So they typically request 10,000.
Okay,
They're gonna be requesting an additional 15,000 for a total amount of 25 this year.
okay.
So you'll see that in your next meeting as well.
Okay.
And I will scan all of the requests that we've received and I will send them out as one document in preparation for that meeting.
Will you email them directly to us?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'll print them all out for everybody for the
Don't
next
have
meeting,
this email. We,
but just for your review, and then we'll go down and discuss each and every line as we go through it.
Has the money come in from the state yet for the final lead center project?
That's a good reminder. No, I had followed up with them repetitively in January and February.
Oh, well, you haven't done it in March yet.
That was a good reminder. I will
Third
definitely
time's the charm.
reach out to our representative at the Land and Water Conservation Fund
Okay.
and follow up. They said that it had gone through and it was at their finance.
Is on the table.
Yeah, it's fair.
Well, usually by the time it gets there, if they have to do a physical check, it's about 6 weeks.
No.
So we-
And also, the Comprehensive Planning Committee also just had their second meeting on Thursday. And so I believe that they'll be coming to you with a recommendation for, I think about 8,000 is what they had decided on. Kennebec Valley Council of Governments is currently booked out about 8 to 10 months, and they charge about 30 to 32,000 to do a full support on the comprehensive plan. And so, talking with the Maine Municipal facilitator at the state for inland fisheries and wildlife, they said just to go ahead and get going because there's been some question about some of the housing legislation and that incorporating that into the comprehensive plan. And so I think that the comprehensive plan committee will just get going with it and start structuring it as they can, and then potentially hire out KV Cog hourly. And we had also discussed the possibility of using that 8,000 as a cost match for potential grants, like a 10% for example, for the community action grant. Or if they wanted to hire an intern next summer, it might be a good opportunity for them too. But that's all I've got.
So right now, the plan is that next Tuesday, right, is when the select board's gonna be meeting and they're gonna be discussing the final 1/3 of the budget.
Yeah.
And then on the 24th, it will come to us. And then there's, looks like a final review on April 7th.
Yes, and I think that we'll have a draft. The select board's already requested a draft of the warrant articles for Tuesday. And so I think if we have time and the select board meeting on Tuesday, we'll talk about it at the end. If not, I mean, that's gonna be on the agenda for the following meeting for that final review and the first draft of the warrant.
So after the select board reviews that final 1/3, could I get just another one of these
Yeah.
in advance, just so that we can update the spreadsheet that we've been using that? Oh,
Absolutely.
will it include revenues as well?
Yes. I can
Estimated
include that.
revenues?
Yep.
Okay,
Amy, you said the 24th, or next 24th, but then you said the 7th of April?
Well, that's-
I have the
that's-
14th.
sorry, that's excuse me, yeah, it's select board on April 7th for the select board to have a final review.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Good.
looks like on here, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, April 14th, looks like the budget committee meeting has a final budget review. And then there's a possibility of an April 21st or May 5th. But those are both question marks, I guess, to see how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'd be subject to the budget committee and the select board and the decision on how you want to proceed. But those are options to get together and kind of go over any final details.
Yeah, so has there, cause we still need the county budget,
Mhm.
right? And we'll still need the RSU, well,
Mhm.
after your meeting.
Yep.
At the end of the week, interested to see how that goes. Yeah, and then, revenues, do we anticipate any more, or haven't really looked at that yet?
Any more?
Any more
Increase or
revenues
decrease?
increase? expected revenues?
I don't think it's really been a significant increase, so it's really stood out to us, so.
Oh, okay. What other, any other issues or questions that folks have? Make sure.
Well presented. Thank you.
All right.
I move we adjourn, I think, if we don't have another.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? A second.
Would you like the gavel?
And all in favor? Thank you very much.